you're not sort of begging for their attention. They want to be there. So that's super. Miss Jill. Well, listen, will I go on, John? The only...
Yeah. Well, it doesn't work.
Can I suggest?
I'll make you a nice
Yes.
Maybe to do collaboration. One of my poems from my book and an instrumental.
Well,
just to try out.
Well, the only thing, Anne-Marie, is that I'm with my house
No,
venue.
but just for here.
Oh, here, I thought you meant in general.
No, no, no.
Oh, I thought you
God,
meant...
no.
Well, it's just...
Do you have something calm, maybe?
Yes. I have something called La Source, which means the beginning. And it's very dreamy, because you were talking about dreaming
I
earlier.
don't even have... I only have notebooks with me. I have to...
Do you like that?
Can we have a song from Claire first to get that going? It'd be good, and then follow up.
That would go...
Because I've actually announced Claire.
All right.
I've announced you singing something.
Okay. Well, this is for Jill, and thank you very much for tuning in. And this is for Jill and Anne-Marie, because my question earlier was, I wonder why you came to Ireland. And this is called Dedication. Now, the second part I made up on the 6th of February 1974, when I stepped out of my garden in Dublin, which is still a fairy tale. It was a miniature farm, but that's a long story. I used to catch, well, I still do, I catch the moon's reflection on the stream that runs along the field. It's very magical at night. It's very magical during the day, but I love it even more at night. But the first verse is a dedication to those who had to leave. Not so much who had to leave, who wanted to leave and find places that they'd be restored. So this was why I was hoping that maybe, although you love your countries, maybe like me going to America, I felt I've got to go out of the country and then maybe I'll be restored and come back. So it's a kind of like tennis, you know, you go there and you're restored and you come here and you're restored. So this is dedication. Tonight find it in the beautiful silence, or the blueness and the pearls of stars, and everywhere lightened to a misty half-light. I feel so peaceful here, all so quiet. The silent beauty and the silent peace.
Lovely.
So I hope you find the peace when you come to the fields. No. So John, what next?
It's absolutely beautiful. I love it.
Right,
Find.
Anne-Marie now.
Yes.
Shall I sit down next to her?
Wouldn't that be lovely?
Shall I sit down next to her,
Yes,
John?
Oh, what duo are you doing? What are you playing now?
We're going to do a collaboration.
Oh, fantastic.
How
Now,
long
you
is
can
that
tell.
song?
Well, I'll follow you and I'll stop when you stop.
Oh, I'll let you do an introduction. What is? I have to find the poem first.
Is this your new book?
Because for your benefit, you know. for
Well, I
your
only
book,
have one book.
You'll have to get the two of us do the
Yeah.
music with
I
that.
think it's incredible.
All those poems in the book, we got the music.
That's Anne-Marie's book.
No, you got
Yes, I have.
the.
Yeah, great.
You'll have to hear that music as well before you go.
Fantastic.
Now, what is
Am
this
I-
called? So that I
The Magical Stones.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, and how long is it so that I'll...
Oh, very short.
Oh, right, that's great. Okay, so you tell me when
Oh,
you'd
you
like me to.
you start and I'll pitch in
Okay.
somewhere. The Magical Stones. The wild Atlantic, the refreshing smell of seaweed, full of iodine, all of this mine, for this swift moment in time. Soft sand and stones, holding relics of ancient bones. Stones and stones and stones. Their tiny quartz particles glittering in the sun like sapphires. So beautiful, so powerful. Who could have known their power to conjure up sacred energies, create sacred space in any odd place? Thank you, crystals, for your magical gifts.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Claire.
Amazing.
It's how easily a poem can flow to music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it is music. Your words are music. They're beautiful. The Magical Stones. Sure, that's
Yeah,
Singing.
it really harmonises. The words harmonised. so much.
That's lovely. Lovely. It was not live stream. No.
No, this is YouTube. YouTube Live. Because I couldn't get Facebook Live to go, and it was too late to get.
But this is.
concert
Are we
window.
now live?
Yeah, this is
Okay.
right. Do
So
you want to do another song, and then I'll do it because Jill's got the book, and I think it'd be nice if
Yeah, I was going to ask you, are you going to do one of your poems, John?
yeah,
Yeah.
do another song yourself.
Okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah, and then we'll do that for.
Well, would you like a Yeats poem, or would you prefer something else? I don't mind.
It'll be good, whatever you can
Yeah.
do.
Well, I
All
suppose.
your work is good, Claire.
Anna, you're very kind. Well, I suppose because we're in the beautiful land of Sligo, where W.B. Yeats came so that he could connect with the other world in a lot of ways. So this is to a child dancing in the wind. Dance there upon the shore. What need have you to care? For when our waters roar and tumble out your hair, that the salt drops have wet, being young, you have not known the fool's triumph, nor yet love lost as soon as won, nor the best labor dead, and all the sheaves to bind. What need have you to dread the monstrous crime of wind?
Grand.
Thank you very much, and thank you for
Your
Right.
voice is so beautiful. You practice a lot.
Not really, Jill. And
I've always been a good singer.
Oh yeah.
I've always sung,
Sing.
but
Sing.
I wouldn't go in every day, and I'm not trained. I sing when I want to sing and when I have something on. But some people now, say if I was say an opera singer, they have to train so much. But I would kind of warm up a little, but not very much. But there again, you know, I hope that it sounded all right.
Right.
It was
Okay, John's
perfect.
going to do one.
I was thinking, like, she didn't do any warm-ups.
No.
How did she shift into
Yes,
such a lovely
that is
voice?
incredible.
Well,
Yeah.
Usually she does do warm-ups.
I
so
usually do. I was a bit relaxed today. So, John, which one?
Right,
is
we'll
this?
go for Old Faithful because I don't think these two have heard it. The Cole the Hazel, which was inspired by an uncle of mine who would go off divining and was quite into the herbs and was concerned with me as a little 6, 7-year-old on a little bike going off to wells and ancient sites. So he'd come around and he would look for a willow stick or a hazel stick that was forked, and he'd go round to see what was there, which way the water flowed and so forth. And very typical of the men in my father's family, and this was sort of inspired by him, and because of the hazel being very symbolic of our nourishment, but not just our food nourishment, our nourishment that builds up our actual wisdom, and it's just giving and receiving nourishment beyond the food. So this is Call of the Hazel. In a wise diviner's hand, forked hazel stretched apart, feeling, sensing what's beneath our vibrant land. Sensing the living waters, carving an alignment chart of its flow from the divine earthly heart. The hazel wand, tracing the thread of the veil, guiding the diviner's trust as it casts its spell. We pass slowly, silently through this Dara veil, trusting, anticipating this old ways miracle, finding that point where the living waters becomes a well. Hazel is mercurial spirit, a wise sprite to break in of insight, and flashes of inspiration entice us to discover many things. Entering into the dreaming within the forest, hazel tree sang to me, touched me with its fragrant fingers, stroking my dream, calming my dream, closing the wounds of blood that had clouded my dream. The breathing air touched by the hazel, charged with quicksilver energy, charging me with exhilaration and inspiration. Hazel. So charge my spirit to pulsate, a catalyst, a transformer, a barb to relate ways to crack any situation, like cracking a hazelnut shell to feed from its nourishment inside. That pure nourishment, pure goodness, pure knowledge in a nutshell, all of the ways of wisdom that we can pass on. And I was now the diviner. I had discovered my source of language, of poetry, of music, of course. And mystics say that anyone born under the sign of the hazel must never hoard their treasure. Its nuts, the fruits of knowledge, must be shared for learning and for pleasure. So play with the thoughts and dreams of others, from social causes to capricious lovers. But be careful what wizardry can cut. Remember, your wisdom is inspired by a nut. I can see we haven't done that for a long time, have we?
I did read it in the book.
That's lovely.
Lovely.
Ah, you're very
Oh, good.
It's right up my alley.
No, it kind of went a bit fast.
Which month month is allocated to hazel then?
Yes, what is the sign of
It's sort of
hazel?
August. Various people have different interpretations of it. The most common
Do you
seems
where
to
the
be.
squirrels are collecting their nuts?
You would think so. You would think it'd be that, but you would think they would be into October. But no, the hazel tends to be, with a lot of interpretations, a lot of August and beginning of September.
Did they used to like cut them to build to use the you know what do you call them? You know, like long stems and that. Did they use them?
Well, the whole thing of what month is each of the year, and that's very much a modern romantic thing.
Oh.
It doesn't go way back.
Okay.
It's probably something. It's probably a tradition that's not more than 40, 50 years old. But there is a tradition with the autumn, the 20 symbols, that it is the cycle of your life. So there's 20 symbols in the autumn, and there are like 4 quadrants, each of them has 5, so it's like a pentatonic scale in a way. And the first quadrant, very symbolic from your birth and all the rites of passage of discovering your individuality. And then going on to the second part is how you relate and how you connect with things. And it starts with connection, which is more sort of shyness and mischievousness, to our integration. And then the third part is like the harvest of our lives, the unity and what we actually draw from the harvest, because like the first part is saying the individuality like spring, the spring of our lives, and the unity, the relationship is like the summer of our lives. Then we have like the harvest, the bounty from our experience and wisdom, and then the fourth part is the divinity, which is like the light of the winter. So it's like a lot of people have put the signs of the autumn throughout the 12-month year, when the older tradition is putting it through our entire life, but treating our entire life as being 4 seasons. So if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the book.
Yeah.
Right.
It's,
But it takes a while to get to that bit.
yeah.
It's sort of more than halfway through. Do you want to do another one?
Well, only if you think so. Have you an idea?
Of course, you haven't got the piano here, and you haven't got the electric harp out.
I have another.
Oh!
Yes, you have got an idea.
Well, I did think of Bridget on this, and then maybe Anne-Marie would do one as well.
So,
Would you play the harp?
No.
what if you do one on that, then Anne-Marie, Bridget on that, and because I was talking about the spring, and we'll do the Hawthorn, if you remember the tunes on that, do you?
I don't, but I haven't them with me. I should have had them with me. Have you any idea what they were?
I don't, because I haven't got them marked at all.
Yeah, well, I could always just look at it and go along with it.
Right.
Do you know, I can't understand. I suppose I didn't know I'd be performing, to be honest.
Right.
You know. So what do you think? Did you say Anne-Marie?
Yeah, do one and then get, how about then Anne-Marie?
John did announce it, that you were going to be performing. That's why I'm
And I,
You're very good. I don't know. I think it was...
I forgot to mention it to you.
Yeah.
Fields of Fasero.
Oh, yeah. Well, I used to ride horses for a long time, since I was from age 12 to 30. And we used to rest them, my friends and I, over in fields in Fasero. So it tells a story, and it was a promise I made. I think I was 18 at the time. So I hope you like it. Fasero are fields near Bray, near Dublin, beautiful fields, and you can still see them. They're still exactly the same as they were all those years ago. the sky, this earthly heaven. There are no people here to harm us. Do not fear, my wild-eyed lover. Do not fear, my wild-eyed lover. I will hold you close. I will hold you close. I will hold you close till the wind stops blowing for us.
So that is.
It's really entrancing.
Well, you're very kind.
The horsey song.
Yeah.
The horsey song, yeah.
Even if you don't listen to the words, you just
Wow.
wander off.
Ah, but that's good.
Yeah,
That's what I like
yeah.
to think.
The
And
wild-
I still remember it vividly, just sitting in the fields, and they were so rolling. They were like something you'd see in the Alps. And
Yeah.
the horses loved it. And then there was a beautiful stream there and woods. And we used to bring out our picnic, and it was magical. And we had a donkey and trap, you know, and we'd ride out from Dublin. And now, sure, if you did it, you'd be run over by a juggernaut. It's so different. But I often think, my son said a lovely thing when the family house was being sold. He said, Mum, you can create that somewhere else. And you know, I often think that my dream would be to have a tiny little boat and sail it on, because I used to do a lot of sailing, and then be able to ride a horse again. I miss that. Did either of you ride horses?
Yeah, I love it. And I was never allowed as a kid, but then when I was about 20, 30, I rode a little bit. Never been a good. And then I did quite a lot of riding, 2, 3, 4 years, like for a couple of years. I did a lot of riding only a couple of years ago.
Fabulous.
And I would love to try riding. I'd love to go riding again here. It was making me quite wistful and making me really want to get on a horse again. I've got a hat and everything.
Yeah, I had the.
Do you like riding?
I did a lot of riding, and I did horse camps, and yeah, I even got a certificate. I only didn't do the jumping.
Yes.
I could have had kept horses and
Yes.
have training school if I did the jumping cert as well.
Oh, so you had the cert.
Yeah,
It
but
was really
no, when I had a
well
back
into it.
problem when I was 18, I broke an intervertebrae.
Oh.
Yeah.
From
and-
riding? While you're riding? No, separate.
from martial arts.
Oh my God, you're a duke. 1 minute she's doing martial arts,
Yeah,
and the next minute.
That was the end of all my sporting activities at that point. Took me a long time to realign my
recover.
spine.
Yes.
Have you done riding, John? Do you like
Yeah,
riding
years ago.
horses?
Last time I rode, I was about 30, I think.
Yeah.
So do you have anything mystical?
Well, I could.
Mystical.
I can.
Mystical is in the simple, the minute way of
Yeah,
life.
we just had something. Well, it was better because someone from Vancouver around and said, "Hurry up and get on with another song because I've got to go to work."
All right.
It's funny. I nobody on Facebook, but as soon as I put it on Twitter, we're suddenly busy.
Anne-Marie, what is the poem that I can
This is a poem called Carroquillo.
Oh, beautiful.
So this is a poem from my book, The Lecker Antenna, Adventures and Research in Geobiology and Bioenergy, which is about subtle energies I measured at different megalithic sites in and around Sligo. And this megalithic site is Carroquillo. And I wrote this poem straight after I discovered something very important about the cairns at Carroquillo. But you will figure it out from the poem. Carroquillo. Carroquillo, so unreal. The landscape, so unseen. The air, so clean, so pure, that angel dust grows on the hawthorn tree, the fairy tree, covered in mossy lightest of green. Carroquillo, so unreal, the energies, transforming, healing, universal life force, prana or she, filling me, transforming me into pure energy. Carroquillo, so unreal, out of time and out of space, Eden on earth. So blessed am I to be, to have found thee.
Oh,
Thank
beautiful.
you. Thank you.
How blessed, isn't that lovely?
Right.
And how blessed are we to have met all of you.
Right, do you want to try the little harp with the...
Yes, John.
And then we'll see if we can pick up the tunes, maybe on the Hawthorne one. I
Yes.
know King of the Fairies is one of the tunes with
Oh,
that.
great.
And then there was a slow one, I can't remember the tune after that.
Who's the little guy on the front of it?
Oh, gosh. I wonder, is that the Green Man? I think
Is
it
it?
is, isn't it, John?
Where have
The
you?
Green Man.
Yes. You've got a little...
Yeah, it looks like it.
This was made in
Oh,
1998.
unless it's
Is that a
self-portrait.
French?
No, this is an Irish made in Galway in
Mm.
1998. Sorry, John?
It may be the self-impression of, what's his name, Gaffney? Is it Gaffney?
Oh, Paddy Cafferty.
Gaffney, yeah.
Yeah. So, did you want to do the Hawthorne
Oh
now?
no, do the Brigitte one and then we'll maybe work out the mechanics for that Hawthorne.
So this is the song for spring that we would sing in school. And it's about Bridget, who's a goddess or a saint, or many Bridgets. And it's in the Irish language, and it's quite short. The translation is, I sing praise to Bridget, daughter of Ireland, daughter of every land, all our people praise her. And the next verse, shining torch of Leinster, shining through the land, head of all of Irish youth and head of gentle women. And the last verse, which we know well, sharp and hard as winter, bitter, cold and dark, but on Bridget's day, spring is come to Erin. Thank
Lucky we
you.
didn't have any glasses in here.
Oh, glasses, oh dear. And I wasn't even singing it as loud as I could sing it. But I hope it wasn't too loud.
No, it was great. It sounded.
Perfect.
I went to listen to it outside on the stream, and sounded very good. Right. I wonder if I can revive memories of the Hawthorne.
Yes, John.
I know it's King of the Fairies for these from the Circles of Swirlings and Dance. Remember what the tune was at the beginning?
Yes. Was it this one?
That's the one for that. And then the one, My Fire Is Lit.
Yes.
What was that one now?
That
was the ballady one.
Something. So I'll work on that.
No, because
I'm really sorry about that because is it still running?
yeah, there's only one person. Well, I say only one person. Most important person in the universe at the moment. And my fire is lit. My bed is made of hawthorn flowers gathered.
I think it was.
I'm trying to think if it was a Thomas More tune. You can't remember what it was?
No, I think it was something quite slow, maybe like what I played for Anne-Marie. That was it.
That's the one. We're in business, right? Hawthorne, and with. I just have to find the page because this is the beginning. Well, this is the sixth one, sixth symbol in the alphabet, and it's the beginning of the second. I mean, as some people say, the second quarter. And it relates, it's about relating, but when people first discover the whole concept of relating, there's a lot of flirting and courting and mischief. And in about a month we should have the hawthorn flowers out, which has quite a few traditions related to it of the men making beds with hawthorn blossoms and luring someone of the other sex maybe to their bed in the woods. There is a lot more to that tradition because it's actually a tradition that perhaps stopped people breeding within themselves. It's, as I say, it's quite mischievous. So this is Who the Hawthorn.
I'm terrible.
That's it, we got the jolly one going. Who's the hawthorn, please? Mischievous trickery. We attempt to define what is real and unreal till we discover it's not a question of how to live. It's a question that is our life. Well, poor the hawthorn is full of riddles, lures us, embraces us, then it hides, and fragrances flirt with the wounds of women, triggering sparks of lustful longing of men to join them in the mating dance. Circles and swellings of dance, those dances of wonder, hoping and lust, all falls away the blanket of time. It's a tease of the fairy folk, they say. A tease of the fairy folk. So ask around half fires, the cattle with soap with a twig or two. My bed is made of hawthorns gathered. I'm far away from any home. She came to me nighttime. I'm not used to this tune. My fire is lit. My bed is made of hawthorn flowers gathered. I'm far away from any home. She came to me nighttime, moontime, in the springtime, under the starlight, beneath the hawthorn tree. She trots softly over new ferns and shamrock, towards my white chamber, towards my sweet bed, to rest her warm breast with me beneath the hawthorn tree. Now back to the ballad.
The ballad.
I had always thought, and I'd always been told, not to touch hawthorns or I'll forsake luck. A soul may pass from this earth early, that water will stop flowing throughout the land. But there's something I feel before I'm too old. I must lay with the hawthorn, where I will bless hope and heal a broken heart. Nobody who seeds a hawthorn tree, what sprouts its warning thorn, what scents its embracing blossom, we know it came from long ago. And the hawthorn's hands gripped beneath the earth, while the eyes glanced towards the sky. Thank you. What may I ask if you can, because I really adore that one and we'll get with it, but if you search YouTube for Hood Hawthorne with Claire Roach and myself, you'll hear a lovely version of it with the most beautiful tunes, but I think that was a nice improvisation for now. Thank you, Claire. But look it up on the YouTube to see how we used to do it, and I think you may well be delighted as well as today.
Is that an Irish part? The little one?
That is, yeah, it was made in Ireland, all right. But have you never met Colston? He doesn't make them anymore.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a little...
Real or-
Yes, do you want
Yes.
to take it down?
Yeah, it's in the pentatonic scale, and it won't
might
I
be
was
be
in
a
going
tune.
to ask you that, so you
Hmm?
can tune it up all different ways.
Yes, and you see, that would be, it's like a piano, C, D, E, F,
Way
G,
out by
A, B,
now,
C.
but,
And that's
I
C,
haven't
Red
played it
note
for
is
some
C.
time.
the red note.
String.
And then if you want to make it C sharp, you do that. So there'd be a lot of levers for each note.
You
see,
You flick them to
You flick them. Yes.
Ooh.
Now this one,
Yeah, I take a while
that,
to tune.
that's why it has the pedals. Because
Oh.
that'll be C and you press it.
Ooh.
And then,
Yeah, I have to find the
so
actual
that's, I play
tuning
this a lot,
bit.
say,
But
I
it
play
is
them
the
both, but I
pentatonic.
play this one more
And what
because
was
you can
really
change
nice
keys.
on
Did you
it,
ever, did you
recognise
play
the
music,
lyrics
Jill?
Piano.
Yeah. So this is very
I've
like the
never-
piano.
Oh,
This is
That's
like,
the tree library.
this one you changed there.
Yes, and I have this changed to G.
Right.
But this one is in C.
it looks a bit like the short
Yeah,
it's in-
but it's smaller.
No, that's the actual
and then
design
you
of the
can
tree
do
library.
you can
If you
do
actually do
a
that
semitone
was
either way
two.
on each string.
You hold
It's
it like
fantastic.
this.
The middle
Whichever's
one
comfortable, yes.
is natural. Now, to be honest, I play everything flat.
Flats and
Because
sharp.
it's so old, even though these are very good, they're not as true, if you know what I mean. you know, you might do C.
It might go a bit off.
It might a bit, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure. Yeah, you can just hear it slightly.
Let's have a look at the little nodmer moving.
Isn't it amazing?
Oh yeah.
And you see the ones at the end. Like, he really was a genius. And there's a man in Australia.
What do you mean?
It goes up the front pillar, and you can see the one there, this one.
Yeah.
So I'm just fascinated at all the different lengths.
Yeah.
So,
But people had made harps before, so he was just he was just making a really like amazing version of it.
Yes.
But isn't it clever that it
It's amazing.
so it twizzles
It twizzles.
exactly,
Yeah.
and it makes such a beautiful shape.
That's flat, natural, and
Hang on.
sharp.
Which one are you pressing?
I'm the C one, the red one. So that's natural or flat.
Oh, and it does all the C's all the way through.
Yeah. So on this one, it has to do by hand, but you'll
Yeah,
see
yeah.
brilliant Irish harpists that will flick. You know, they'll flick two up like that, and
They're flicking all the
they're
time.
fabulous. Yeah.
Wow.
So
And this, does that do three or just one?
just one.
Just goes up to the sharp.
Yeah, and down again. So, but at the same time, it's great because some harps, that harp, that has got the little keys, but some of them haven't even got that. So I find it fascinating. I really do. And, you know, I only took it up again when I was 36. So I often say, oh gosh, if I had spent much longer at lessons.
I know you say that, but you were doing some other things before 36
this-
that were pretty good, I'm sure.
But sure, you know yourself, Jill.
You can only, you no good to have any regrets, is it?
No, and I'm very, John has really opened it out for me, and this cottage is amazing because he said a great thing. He said, Claire, stop trying to get work abroad or here, there. He said, we'll bring the people to us. It's just great, Jill.
This is
I must say that we don't actually have one of, we don't have a Hawthorne together on Facebook, on YouTube.
Have we not, John?
No. I tell you what we do have. Do you remember the Ivy? Called the Ivy, and it's the tune. I can't remember the title. Something Walk.
Yes, I do.
Did we ever go there?
Yes.
If I can find my book.
Yes. I love the skirt. I love that idea, the skirt and the boots.
Well, I've got a bit of a lack of footwear at the moment, so I've actually fancied wearing shoes. Yeah, this was from a clothes swap, this pink skirt.
Oh, isn't it?
I showed up with some people I didn't know. We all had there's a mountain of clothes and all sorts of things, and we just had a big rummage and ended up with new wardrobes.
God,
It was dead good.
I love the second-hand shops. Now I'll put this away, John.
Oh well, I was thinking of doing
Okay.
doing it on that because that came out lovely.
All right.
When you did it on that, and that's on the YouTube with that, with the called the Ivy. If I can, there we find it. About trusting, because a lot of people, my daughter used to say to me, "Why do you call me Ivy?" Because Ivy's always clinging, and the thing is, ivy has its own root system, and it feeds itself, and all those feelers that go into the tree, they never get through to the first circle, so they don't actually go in. A lot of people think they kill the tree, but in fact they actually seem to support a tree that's on its way out. And it's very misunderstood, and I must admit I borrowed some lines here from Charles Dickens that I mixed with my own for this poem, and it's called The Ivy, and a few lines taken from the Dickens poem The Ivy Green. So, let's see if we Don't let love fade away and make us all islands, never charted, never enchanted, dissolved from the sea, never to be seen again. connected invitation. The mankind of creation holds us as a nation, as guests, guests upon this world. All those love expectations, unity celebrations, faith integrations. One strong binding love is unfurled. Oh, it's a dainty plant, it's that ivy green that creepeth over the ruins old. Oh, fast she stealeth on, though she wears no wings. And a staunch old heart has she, how closely she twinneth, how tight she clings, sharing love with any willing tree. While ages have fled, their works decayed, and the nations have scattered been, but the stout old ivy will never fade. From the hale and hearty green, binding together as king and queen, oh, plant of unity is ivy green. There's a lot of things we bond with, a lot of things that may pull us back down, maybe tears, maybe pain, stops our world till we get it spinning again. And a hammer may fall and test our weakness, a saw may grind to cut us and make us branchless, but together there is always that power to heal. From cold stone to green leaves, warm field creeping on, where time has grey been, so rare old plant is that ivy green.
That's the rare old plant.
So they don't choke trees then. So what gardeners say you've got to get that off there because it killed the tree.
It's a myth, and funnily enough, although
They really keep it going though. I've
Yes.
been told to strip ivy off the trees, and you know my garden away, but you know a few years ago.
the only thing, it's not 100% true, because eventually the ivy restricts light. So you've got that
It gets
problem.
really big,
Mm.
and it's gets really heavy on fences, and you know can like pull them down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was always under the impression that it pulled concrete away, and then someone explained to me how actually it can hold the concrete together. It's when you actually pull it off the concrete you start the trouble. But
But then
I-
it kind of wriggles in.
yes,
to let
it
fall.
feeds on the concrete, as I
Oh.
think you'll find. So that's not quite so. Right, another one from you, Claire? Or did you want to set the electric harp up?
Well, if you like, John,
Yeah, you might as well, just for the novelty.
for the novelty.
We'll get the electric harp going.
Right, you don't have to stand on. I don't have to sit.
Right, Claire is now going to get the unravel the Kamak electric harp, and that is the cover. And we'll keep you in anticipation.
Zipping sounds.
And
After
there
Deborah,
it is, the blue machine, which
after Deborah Henson
Deb-
Coleman.
and Claire hasn't got the leathers on to play this today. And
Oh, no.
because it can actually come with a leather strap, and Claire could leap around the room with it.
Sorry.
But I don't think she's going to do that today.
I'll push it away.
But
Good.
yeah, surprisingly,
Oh, I
it
know
looks,
what it is. I crossed
It's stuck in the foot.
it looks big.
Wait.
Hang on, I better change, otherwise we'll get thrown off of YouTube. Because we're getting a different meaning to crack at the moment.
Oh gosh, yes.
There we go. That's how we're
The Irish word for fun.
Right, okay, that is the, now you need the amplifier.
Yes.
You might do it over here.
I just want to make sure I have it.
You have a cable.
I do. I have the cable in here.
God, the amplifier is 5 times more heavier than the actual. Right.
Is it good there, or do you want to?
I'll be best here, I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. I have the cable in this. Look.
Right. Electric cable and
No,
cable.
Palms,
Solid
wow.
cable.
Have you been to?
I've been there, but I haven't.
We with you in a few minutes with the wonderful Camac electric harp.
You're very kind, John. No, very
Remember which way round?
I do actually, after you told me.
Right.
You're very kind.
Plug that one in. I'll plug the rear end in.
No.
You know which is the treble and bass then?
One, no stone circles,
Yes.
just one.
Yeah.
Right.
It's amazing.
Right, now I suppose I better move the microphone into a different position. Are you going over there or over
I
here?
can come up there, John.
Right,
You can tell me where you'd like me to be.
right, I will move. Excuse me for putting the microphone in front of me. Right, now here we go with the Camac electric harp and clear.
No, I could do symbolic, or I
Yes,
could.
symbolic would be great. Or both of them actually. Well, I like the lights at the moment in this.
This was named after a most wonderful rock harpist, a brilliant lady. She's a composer, she's a classical musician, Deborah Henson Conant from the USA. And she's just an inspiration because her personality is as big as her concert harps. And this harp was actually commissioned by Camac in France and it's named after Deborah Henson Conant. She designed it with them, and actually a bicycle manufacturer made this extraordinary what would I say, object. Now, Jill, and I hope, and Anne-Marie, I hope that you'll enjoy this, because this, like an awful lot of my songs, they were composed when I was very young. And I suppose I was about 18 or 19. And we were studying symbolism in W.B. Yeats. So this is very, and I loved the idea that you could say something and it had many layers of meaning. And so near it, as I said to you, my garden in Dublin is still a very magical place, and it has everything I would ever, it's my whole universe. I don't need anything else, in the sense that it has all the, it has all the elements that you can transpose to the universe, in the sense that it has wild nature. It's like a wildlife sanctuary at the moment. We've a heron, we've ducks, we've squirrels, foxes, extraordinary birds, and moorhens. So the beauty of that, what it gave me was a map for life. And as I said to you earlier, I would go out, and I still do, to catch the moon's reflection on the pond. Now, the last thing I'll say about this song is that an awful lot of the songs I composed earlier were, it was like preempting what would happen. And but I have to say that not all my songs are as maybe quiet as this. So this is symbolic. Move it that I'm not too close to you, in case I blast you out of it. shadows mingle in 1,000 ways, and the light of the moon was sheltering me from the dark night. I see him standing, waiting there for me, and his frame is so cold and far away. I wish he'd take me tender by my hand, and through this misty night we'd walk together. The horses raised their heads in question, but there is no pain here. And as I stare upon his perfect face and see the fathoms deep within his eyes, the sadness, the human loneliness, he says with a sigh, things are not right, and he goes from me, and the dawn is slowly chasing away the moon, and it stares at the rising sun for a while, and like my lover fades with the dawning, fades with the dawning, fades with the dawn. Thank you. You're very patient.
That's lovely.
So
Lovely, lovely.
we still have the screeching fox. I love the cry of them in the night. It's so. Did you? And yeah, it's very eerie, isn't it?
How
And-
do they cry? I don't know.
Oh, it's like a screeching, literally a screeching woman. And then sometimes the vixen will go, oh, 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 like that. Just a gentle bark. But I find them fascinating. I've had them in my garden since I was 4. So that's a lot. We often think, well, these are ancestors of the first ones. But
Do dogs chase them away?
oh yes, they go mad. If I look after a dog, they go absolutely mad. I looked after 3 dogs, and not all at once, but
But the dogs go mad.
oh, they do.
And do they chase?
Oh,
the
they
foxes
do.
away?
But of course, the foxes are far too clever and far too fast.
Yeah.
But I love that little. She's a wonderful lady. If you ever look her up, Deborah Henson Conant, and she's literally electric herself. Oh boy, can she play! She's unbelievable, and she's so funny. You know, she's just full of life. And that's what I love about the American people that I come across, because they can speak so quickly and put words together so fast, you know, and that's what she does. So now we should let you go, because you've been here a long time.
You mean this?
Yeah, the 6:30 session will be starting in a minute.
Give you some peace to recover from the 6:30 session.
Yeah, well, Or round
I'm afraid that person in India
yeah.
has gone to bed.
Oh, now the interesting thing was,
Well, I'll send.
you know, I was telling people on Facebook nothing. As soon as I put it on Twitter, boom, up goes the numbers.
Really?
Yeah, Twitter.
Is it off
brought
now,
people.
John?
Eh?
It's off now.
No, there's a couple of people still watching for something.
Oh, you're very good.
It did go down a bit, but it was interesting how I didn't think that. Well, that's happened to us before with Twitter, when we were kind of stuck for a place, and this was in Portland, Oregon, wasn't it? That was it. And we said to the hotel, well, these people promised us venues. In fact, twice we went to Portland because someone said, oh, I can get 300 people, you've got to come this week. So we ended up planning the tour to go towards them. And both times they let us down. So we ended up in this hotel in Portland, Oregon. And so I said to the hotel, you know, there's a lot of people said they want to come along, but nobody wants a venue. Have you got a room? And they said, well, there's actually a room with your room, which was quite strange. You know, how much in it? No, it's included with room. And it turned out this is a chain of hotels that are for business conferences. So when you get a room, you get a conference room as well.
Wow,
And I can't remember what it was called. It was something like Apple, but it wasn't Apple.
WBA's room.
And
Yes.
yeah, so but you went into it and it was like a computer room, very sterile, not very nice, but at least it was a room and the sound was good. So I put it on Twitter. I said, oh, we got a room, and told everyone, but it needs dressing up. So all these people came along with flowers and they rearranged the room, and it turned out to be the best gig on the whole tour
Fabulous.
that they had made because of a Twitter announcement. And it just all came together on that day. I made the Twitter in the morning, and we had a great show by that evening.
Wow.
And I said to Claire, we ought to give up all this promotion of all these venues and just do a tour of these hotels. I can't remember the chain of hotel. I think it's no, it wasn't the Marriott. It was one of the other
Something
big
like
chains.
that, yeah.
Yeah, it was a side of them, and they gave them a title, and it was something like it was like Apple Green, but it wasn't Apple Green. I can't remember what it was called, but it was great. Every room got a conference room, and it was a good
Fabulous
size.
idea.
Yeah. It wasn't a wedding place. It was totally business hotel, and it was a comfy hotel too. Anyway, I think we're down to one because I got bored with our talking. So,
Dear.
do you think we should shoot now then?
I suppose
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you
The
so
one
much.
lone person will go now.
Thank you.
you.
Is it all switched off?